Hey everyone, this video is a bit different from what I normally do. This is going to be more unscripted and more raw in a sense. I originally had an entire video that was being worked on by a separate editor and everything. It was supposed to come out the week of the expansion, but timing does more damage than anything. It released during my exam weeks, my friends and I got really into Fortnite Ballistic, and while I'm still somewhat playing the game, I kind of realized that doing some highly edited video where I tell you some surface level, spoiler-free takes on a series that I've been passionately covering for 3 years and playing for over 10 years now just isn't the right call. As time has gone on, especially in the past few years, I've become more and more disenfranchised with this series for reasons I haven't really discussed on this channel before. I've always believed in the potential of Destiny, the potential to be this amazing world that combines the scale and infinite potential of science fiction with the wonder, mystery, and whimsy of fantasy. Mythical science fiction, as Bungie called it. And it was there at the launch of Destiny. These mysterious worlds, like walking into the ancient ruins of Rome without any prior knowledge of its existence, only to find mysterious creatures using the landscape to create homes within the walls of a long-dead civilization, and to find weapons of unknown powers so fucking cool. Like, you have no idea. And some of that genuinely existed. We had the Vault of Glass, an alien robot hybrid who buried its secrets into the soil of Venus. And fitting for a vault, there are multiple safety mechanisms and guards protecting the relics that hide inside, with those who failed to obtain the riches turning themselves into weapons to fight these vault guards in the hopes that the next vault raiders will finish what they started. It's perfect, and this is what the core of Destiny is. The Vault of Glass lives up to the potential that is mythic science fiction, but that is such a small part of the game. The rest of the game is as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle. The story is probably one of the worst campaigns I've ever played. The only one that might be worse is Black Ops 3. I fucking hate that campaign so much, you have no idea. But not only was there potential to show that this whole idea of mythic science fiction could be executed, but it had been done in a smaller scale. Bungie showed that they had an understanding, and they just needed to do it on a game-wide scale instead of just one activity. And at least to me, this was finally done years later with Forsaken. While it's far from perfect, the mystery is there. There's so much to discover, there's a winding narrative to follow, and it's fucking amazing. The Witch Queen was similar. There have been points in time going through this game where I've had moments of genuine amazement of how fucking awesome it was. The last time I really felt that was during the final shape, and even then I found elements of it quite disappointing. But ever since then, I've really been yearning for that feeling again. On September 9th, 2024, Bungie posted an article called Paving the Way for New Frontiers, where they admit that Destiny's become too rigid, and it feels like we're just going through the motions. They want to return to the mystery and wonder that's woven into the fabric of early Destiny. So now that we've seen the beginning of what Bungie calls huge innovations, bringing back the mystery and telling a story that keeps up with its innovations, how did it go? Well, the Edge of Fate, looking back, was really rough. It was a huge missed opportunity, with abilities slowing down combat and never really challenging the player or doing anything interesting to enhance the gameplay. It really should have felt something like Celeste, complicated puzzles that require multiple attempts and a true mastering of mechanics in order to complete them. Instead, it was very surface level, and I only saw a small spark of what it could be in the final mission. Besides that, the campaign was just boring, and enemies were incredibly spongy, which made it a drag to run through. The story itself was mildly interesting, but the story was only good from a few cutscenes that took hours to get to. It took far too long to get what was actually important, and although the final cutscene was great, even if I would have preferred a few changes, I really liked where it went. The design of 3 is fucking amazing, I genuinely love it, but that was really all it had. For what was supposed to be the beginning of a new saga, it was incredibly lukewarm. After the campaign, we had a basic-ass activity that you couldn't even play whenever you wanted to. We had to wait for it to be available, which is so fucking frustrating. I didn't want to wait for a stupid timer, I just wanted to play the content. I've never seen a decision so moronic in my entire life. Like, luckily the weapons look cool and they're sick, but this was just so stupid. I genuinely don't understand it, and it's something I really wish I would have been a lot harder on Bungie for. I haven't played the raid since I basically gave up on raiding a long time ago because I'm sick of LFGs. You guys suck. I genuinely hate playing LFGs. It's some of the worst experiences I've ever had, while also being some of the best. But as time went on, it was way too much of just people fucking whining all the time and talking about how the game is bad and the game is a mess when I just wanted to play the fucking raid. Like, I don't give a shit, okay? Make a fucking video if you want to, like, talk about all that. We're trying to do Deepstone Crypt, okay? God, it was so fucking annoying. But besides raiding, I did give the portal a decent amount of my time, and on paper, the portal seemed like a good idea. My interpretation of what the portal was supposed to be was completely off. My interpretation of the portal was going to be that it was going to highlight certain activities with certain increased power weapons for those specific areas. So everything in the game was going to be tied to this new tier system, and let's say, you know, Bungie thought that Nightmare Hunts should be highlighted this week. The gear from Nightmare Hunts was going to be dropping tier 5 stuff, and so that was something that people were going to focus on, and each week there's going to be a new activity to really focus in on. That's what I thought the portal was, but that's not what it ended up being. And while I still think the portal just needs some tuning, I think Llama made a really great video on it. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it at this point if you still care at all about Destiny. I just don't think the current iteration of the portal has a place in Destiny. You don't bring back the mystery of Destiny by having us sort through menus and trying to find what we're supposed to play. And even coming from lapsed players who have quit the game and come back later, they don't really know what to do. They don't understand what the fuck the portal is asking of them. They were asking, where's the GMs? Why can't I just jump into those? You know, a little while ago, I listened to an interview with Jeff Bezos, where in it, he mentions that there's two kinds of data. There's customer data, and then there's the numbers. When you look at the two, you should be focusing on the customer data, because 90% of the time, the customer data is actually correct. And the numbers may be what you want to see now. Maybe the numbers are telling you the opposite, but eventually, they're going to agree with the customer data. And I think Bungie is way too focused on the numbers and not as focused on the customer data, and that is why things are not going right for them. I mean, even just from my own personal experience, I'm someone who really likes to run older content that I've never completed, going for titles just for the fun of it, or doing things I just never really got around to doing. But when I literally can't because matchmaking isn't available, because no one's matchmaking for stuff like Wellspring, it just really pisses me off and makes me not want to play the game. Something I really liked about Destiny was that you could kind of just jump into whatever you wanted to at any time. You know, maybe you don't get the best gear, but you're gonna get something out of it. But now, 90% of the game has been made completely worthless. Everything drops at below power, and you have to use other items to increase the power of those weapons. None of them are tied to the tier system, so what's the point? It's just frustrating. And now I'm going and doing stuff like all these new dungeons, and although I'm getting the new weapons, they're not tied to the tier system, so I don't even know if I'm going to use them. I can't even finish the Witch Queen title because there's no matchmaking for Master Wellspring, and so I just have to sit with it 90% finished. Then there was Ass and Iron, and it was just too much for me. It was genuinely awful. I hate the activity, and it was overall just nothing for me to do. There was tons of controversies that really pissed me off, and while the exotic mission was decent, it came really late, and it was overall really just lukewarm. Like, it was cool, sure, don't get me wrong, but this wasn't an exotic mission. This was like a Witch Queen campaign mission, at best. And overall, I was just incredibly disappointed with Ash and Iron in a way I've never been disappointed by this series ever before. Which now brings us to Renegades. Originally, I didn't care one fucking bit that there was a Star Wars theme crossover. But as more time has gone on, the more I don't really like it. Knowing that important figures like the Dredgen and the Praxic Order are permanently tied to the Sith and the Jedi just doesn't fit with me as time has gone on. While Destiny has taken obvious inspiration from Star Wars, it also pulled from fantasy like Excalibur and 90s science fiction like Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell. But now seeing literal Star Wars guns and lightsabers and the Death Star appearing in Destiny just pushes me the wrong way. Yeah, the story was good, and I did like what they did with Dredge and Bale, making him a non-guardian trust fund being manipulated by a space god. Man, I wonder where we saw that before. I liked some of the mission design as well. I enjoyed the amount of vehicles used in the final missions, and honestly, it felt something kinda like Halo. The variety of combat and fun scenarios and set pieces was a lot of fun, and if this was authentically Destiny and not covered in a Star Wars veil, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. It's not all bad though. The weapons are admittedly a lot of fun, and the lightsaber is one of the best weapons I've ever seen in this series. The amount of fun I've had using it is great, and honestly the amount of fun I've had in this expansion is much higher than I normally do, but I can't help but feel disdain for this choice. The activity Lawless Frontiers is like a worse Helldivers 2, not because the activity is bad, but because Helldivers 2 is just that good. The activity is fun, like really fun. It even has PvP invading, which I haven't done a ton of, but I enjoy going up against. It spices up the activities in a way that I quite enjoy, and the exotic mission for the lightsaber is great. The factions are cool, but I kind of wish there was more. I kind of wish the factions had some quest lines and more distinct characters with faction-specific weapons and armor that really lets you cosplay that side. And while I'm interested to play the dungeon, there isn't a lot of staying power for this expansion beyond that. We haven't gotten any new PvP maps or any new strikes or anything that's really going to hold us over besides this new activity. The core game that was supposed to be bolstered up with this new content model just isn't happening. And the huge innovations are, one, stuff we already did back in Destiny 1 with factions, and 2, changes that are so minor that calling them innovations is stretching it. But I don't really want to level, I don't care for endgame loot, and there's not enough new content to really keep me around. Not just that, but like, have we seen the amount of quality games that are available right now? Even besides games that are just available right now. I've just been playing a variety of different games. I just recently got into Final Fantasy X and I've been running that. I've been running Super Mario 64 on stream for the first time, and I've been playing Fortnite Ballistic with friends non-stop. When there is this many options and this many good games available to me right now, what incentivizes me to play a Star Wars themed Destiny expansion? Not a lot. And you know, while I was thinking of this video and thinking about what I was going to say, it really made me think of what drew me into this game and what kept me locked in for such a long time, and I think it was the mystery. When I really thought about it, what's really killing the game the most for me is the lack of mystery. The last big mystery in the game that I was truly invested in was the Nine. I liked the mystery around them, these gods without faces, without voices, just text on a subtitle. Unknown space being one of the most alien worlds we've ever seen in this series, it's left with so many questions, and I kind of liked them being just that, questions. But now, when Bungie answers questions, they suck. I never really put much thought into it, but this reveal in Lightfall about what the darkness was is fucking terrible. This is going to sound dumb, but I always saw the potential of Destiny in terms of the storytelling in the same way Dark Souls does it. The main story itself is just a series of things happening, with the items and lore telling a deeper story with details still left out. It leaves room for interpretation and discussion. It's not even an answer we discover as a community, it's something we're just told. There was something really cool about some people believing that darkness was the balance to light and they're almost like a yin and yang, and that darkness isn't necessarily evil, while there's a whole nother camp of people who do believe that the darkness is truly evil. And there was an interesting discussion to have with both sides, and I think both of those ideas were valid, and having that discussion was more interesting than Bungie just telling us, yeah, it's like not really evil, it's just like a thing that exists in the universe, and like the light is physical and the darkness is like metaphysical. I didn't like it. Sometimes I like these questions not being answered. I like that we have to come to these conclusions ourselves as a community, but Bungie doesn't allow that. They want everything to be answered. They don't want any more mystery or whimsy to the world around us. They want you to know everything, and I don't like that. And honestly, I'm just starting to think that this game isn't for me anymore. that the stuff that I want is not what the game is. The decisions being made are not the direction I feel like I want it to go in, and because of that, I've kind of grown resentment for this game. I don't know if that sounds egotistical or whatever for saying this, but I don't really care and it doesn't matter. This is just how I feel about it. There are sparks of genius, times where I am still amazed by this world, but that time is far over. But I guess to put it in some sort of a positive light, something that has always motivated me creatively all the way back to the Red War video is seeing other people cover videos like this at the time about this game, and I thought I could do a better job, or at least do my own version of it. And that idea still drives me, and maybe it'll drive me to create my own version of what I think Destiny should be, almost like a rebuild of Destiny or a Destiny story remake. Hell, maybe it'll drive me to create my own story with my own world and my own mystery. I don't know. It's some sort of positive conclusion, I guess. And I hope Bungie does all well with whatever the fuck they're trying to do with Destiny. I'm gonna finish my campaign analysis series and whatever I decide to do after this, but those are my thoughts on the year of prophecy for Destiny. When it comes to covering the next year, like The Alchemist and all this other stuff, I don't really think I am going to cover it. Like, I bought the Year of Prophecy because I had high hopes and those hopes were squandered, and I feel like this is pretty much it for me. I'm probably just gonna watch from the sidelines and see where this goes. I guess I'm mildly interested still, but I think when it comes down to it, you can look at a sheet of music and you can read the notes and everything, but you have to be able to hear the music, and I don't think Bungie can hear the music at all. These are just the rambles and delusions of a crazy fucking college student. Thank you all so much for watching this video. The support is always appreciated, and I'll talk to y'all very soon. Bye.